Okay, winding down here in the second day of DevOps Day, and I'm here with Ernest Muller of BazaarVoice. Ernest, how are you?
Good.
So now you're relatively new to BazaarVoice. How long have you been there, and what did you come on board to do?
So I've been with BazaarVoice for 2 months. Previous to that, I was here at National Instruments that's hosting DevOps Days for many years. I came on board to manage the kind of central release and infrastructure team in operations. BazaarVoice is currently undergoing kind of an internal shift towards cloud and DevOps, and BazaarVoice, if you're not familiar with it, is a software as a service company that does a variety of social media products, especially ratings and reviews. Like the most accessible way of explaining what we do is ratings and reviews on, so when you go to BestBuy.com, Cabela's, Walmart.com, all of the ratings and reviews there are actually software as a service being inserted from BazaarVoice. So we do 13 billion hits a month, huge kind of solar shop, a lot of good stuff, and they're trying to move towards a DevOps setup, so that's what attracted me.
And so what has your experience been? How have you gained this experience in DevOps?
So here at National Instruments, for 4 years I managed a traditional web operations team. And myself and Peko Karyanev, who started it, and I, like 2 weeks after me 9 years ago, we really became aware of the limitations of the approach that we were taking in operations. The team was always the bottleneck, even though we had a bunch of great people and we were doing things, quote, the right way as best as we could figure it out. There was still just something fundamentally wrong about it. We went to velocity conferences and stuff like that and started kind of getting hints of, hey, maybe there's a different way that we should be doing operations. And then National Instruments decided to get into the software as a service business. National Instruments, of course, is a kind of traditional hardware and desktop software primarily, historically. And they needed to seed that, and most of the R&D programmers are desktop software programmers, so they needed web expertise. So they pulled over certain key developers and operations personnel from our IT department to run the software as a service business. And when we greenfielded that group, it gave us an opportunity to start over from scratch and say, well, let's say that all this new stuff that we were hearing, let's do that. Let's do it all cloud-based. Let's have all of our ops stuff running in scrums. Let's really try that, right? And see if it doesn't work. Because it was all new enough that we didn't necessarily have a guarantee that it was going to work, right? Maybe it was just new Silicon Valley hippie stuff, right? But we tried it, and the results were remarkable. We have extremely rapid product turnaround times. We saw a lot of the problems that were a chronic part of our life in a more traditional setup just kind of evaporate and go away. And so that's where really I cut my teeth. We had a great integrated team of developers and operations. We developed our own tooling, and that kind of taught me what I believe kind of taught me about DevOps and what is needed to really implement it successfully.
Yeah, and then just to conclude with, and once again, you've only been in BazaarVoice a couple of months, but what do you see as the basic differences in the environments and the architectures between the two very different companies, but how would you sort of boil that down and characterize it?
Well, it's probably a lot more similarities than differences. BazaarVoice is making the transition from traditional hardware hosted to the cloud, and running things kind of hybrid cloud and on-site. They're a lot larger scale than we were at National Instruments, but a lot of the tech stack is kind of the same. A lot of the things about how it works right now are actually very reminiscent of my initial team. Like it's kind of interesting. I'm like, oh, I remember this problem. We totally had this problem back before we kind of made a private pass to run operations as a service. So a bunch of really smart people, real good technology, and the organization is very kind of committed to. They've been going through an agile shift, cloud shift, DevOps shift, in pretty short order, actually. So it's a lively time.
Awesome. Ernest Muller, thank you so much.
Thank you.